Let's talk about books, baby. This video is for all the book lovers, obviously. So let's get right into it. I have my Red Bull because I'm tired. I'm tired. Are you tired? For real? Like, I'm tired. Anyway, this book, here is a list of all the books. It's been a day, y'all. This video is all about the new releases that's coming out in the next year, 2025. So I thought that I would share my list with you guys in case you are interested in some book recommendations, one, and two, in case I am missing a book that I would like that you guys could like help me out. So basically we're gonna go month to month. The number one book that I'm looking forward to reading in January of 2025 is Onyx Storm. I've talked about this book at least twice already. Onyx Storm comes out January 21st. Now these dates could be wrong. I don't even know, girl. I found these dates on Goodreads. I feel like sometimes the dates change. Like sometimes it comes out earlier or later. So take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. Anyway, Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. Onyx Storm is the third book of the Empyrean series, also known as the Fourth Wing series. You might know it from like Fourth Wing. It's the third book, y'all. Iron Flame is the second book, and I recently talked about Iron Flame in my 2025 TBR. No, December TBR. I'm reading that book this month, y'all, in preparation for Onyx Storm, which is like one of the first books that I really want to pick up like as soon as it comes out. If you haven't read Fourth Wing, y'all, it's so freaking good. It's a fantasy novel about this girl named Violet who's like small, fragile, 20 years old. Violet was supposed to enter the scribe quadrant. She wants to live a soft, comfortable life among books and libraries and stuff. Like, that's her life, right? That's what she loves. But her mother is the commanding general of dragon riders. So her mother kind of encourages her / ordered her to join the hundreds of candidates who are striving to become dragon riders themselves. She's smaller than everybody else. She's fragile. She's like the least likely dragon rider you'll see. You know what I'm saying? She's one of those people. So anyway, she's trying to become a dragon rider nonetheless. So she gets thrown into this world of like dragons and stuff. And so like these dragons do not play. They will kill you on sight if they feel like you're not a good person. Like they will legit like blow fire at you and you're just unalive. Like yeah, so like that's the kind of vibe. It's so freaking good. These books are not small either, y'all. They're like very thick books. But I'm telling you, like, I can only speak for the first book because I'm still currently reading the second book. But the first book, you go through those pages so fast. Almost everyone that I've heard that talked about Fourth Wing says that they went through it so fast. Like it doesn't even feel like it's like a 400-ish page book. It just, you fly through it because you just want to like go like yeah. Anyway, not only is she like the small girl who's trying to become a dragon rider, but there's also like a war outside of this school going on and the kingdom's protective wards are like falling. And also Violet is suspecting that the leadership of all of this stuff is lying about something, that there's something going on with leadership that they're not telling everyone. Y'all, like it takes you on this whole journey of like, she's the smallest girl. Does she become a dragon rider? How does she, like what happens? Dragon riders are very intense, like dangerous. A lot of people want to kill her solely for the fact that she's her mother's daughter. They don't like the way leadership is going and her mother's in leadership. It is so freaking good. If you haven't read Fourth Wing, go read Fourth Wing. If you have read Fourth Wing, let's read Iron Flame together, buddy read situation, and pick up Onyx Storm, which is coming out in January 21st. Get it, y'all. The Crash by Frida McFadden. I always talk about Frida McFadden. I feel like I wouldn't be me if I didn't read a Frida McFadden novel. So, The Crash. So this girl named Tegan is 8 months pregnant and she's alone. First of all, where's the baby daddy? Like what? Why are you alone? You're 8 months pregnant, girl, you're about to pop. Why are you alone? Anyway, she desperately wants to put her crumbling life in the rearview mirror. So she leaves, y'all, and she plans to stay with her brother. But while she's on the way to her brother, she doesn't even realize she's heading right into a blizzard. Anyway, heading right into a blizzard and she never makes it to her destination. She's stranded in rural Maine. Y'all, have y'all ever been in a rural area? It's scary, I'm not even gonna lie, especially at night. Anyway, so now she's stranded with a dead car and a broken ankle. What happened to you, girl? What happened? So anyway, then she gets rescued by this couple. They offer her a warm room until the snow clears. But something isn't right. Girl, something isn't right. Of course it's not right. Like, what's not right? What's not right, right? She comes to realize she's in grave danger. Ooh, this safe haven isn't what she thought it was. And staying there may be her most deadly mistake yet. Not just dropping into a blizzard. That was dangerous too, but like, no, her going and staying with strangers is the most dangerous thing she could have done. It says now she must do whatever it takes to save herself and her unborn child. Y'all, this is a thriller mystery. I can't even talk. A thriller mystery. Anyway, this is a thriller mystery novel. Of course, that's Frida McFadden's specialty. The Crash. What would you do though? Like, what would you do if you were stranded in the middle of a snowstorm in your car? Your car is broken down, whatever, your ankle's broken. Would you go with these strangers, or would you just be like, nah, I'm gonna just stay in my car? Personally, I would stay in my car. Like, I don't even know, like, I would try to call the police. I wouldn't go with I don't know what I would do. Okay, let's move on. So in February, Deep End by Ali Hazelwood is coming out. And I have read a few books by Ali Hazelwood. I say a few. I just read like 2. But like, that's a lot for me, honestly. Because you could read so many other books from other people, but you know what I'm saying. Did I read 2 by her? Oh, wait. Nah, I can't remember the second book I read by her. Anyway, let me stay on track. Deep End. Now it's bugging me that I don't remember that other book that I read by her. What is it called? Or did I only read 1 book by her? I don't remember. Anyway, Deep End. I know Ali Hazelwood is a boss, okay? So this is a steamy college romance novel about a competitive diver and a swimmer. So this girl named Scarlett is a swimmer at Stanford. She's a junior at Stanford. She's a student athlete. So that's cool, right? I haven't read a book like about a college student athlete. Anyway, she is concentrating on getting into med school. So she's just keeping her head down, doing her little thing. And she's also recovering from an injury that almost ended her career. So she doesn't want to even be in a relationship, right? And swim captain, world champion, all around aquatics golden boy, Lucas, he thrives on discipline. That's how he's breaking records and winning gold medals and stuff, because he's so disciplined, apparently. It says on the surface, Lucas and Scarlett have nothing in common. But like, yeah, it sounds like they do, because like they're both like swimmers. But anyway, they have nothing in common until a secret slips out and everything changes. What is the secret? So then they start an arrangement. What arrangement? Like, now I'm super curious. Anyway, and as the pressure leading to the Olympics heats up, so does their relationship. Ooh. Their relationship was supposed to be temporary, mutually satisfying, a little fling. But the more they spend time together, the more impossible it is to stay apart. And Scarlett realizes that her heart might be treading into dangerous water. And that's how it ends. I do remember that her chapters are pretty long sometimes. And now it's bugging me because I don't know the other books that I've read by her. But yeah, y'all. And honestly, I love the cover. I love how her fingernails are like painted blue. But then also he's tatted up. And I'm not gonna lie, I like tattoos, even though I have none. I like seeing tattoos on other people. But anyway, let's move on. So in March, there's only one book on my list that I want to read, just like February. The book that I am definitely looking forward to reading is Oathbound by Tracy Deonn. It's the third book of the Legendborn cycle. Y'all, Legendborn is about this girl named Bree whose mother just died, right? Bree goes off to UNC because her mother also went to UNC and she needs to escape and da-da-da-da-da. When she goes to UNC, her first night there, she witnesses a demon attack on a human. And then this person called a mage, I believe, or a Merlin, one of those two M words, one or the other, goes and tries to wipe her memory of what she saw. But it didn't work because Bree also is a boss lady that has powers, and she didn't even realize she had powers until that instant happened where they tried to wipe her memory and it didn't work. So then when it didn't work, she starts remembering other things like, oh wait, this mage or this Merlin, one or the other, I can't remember. One of those things was there the night her mother died as well. So then she goes on this whole journey of like, oh my god, so what are they trying to erase? How did my mother really die? Something is not right. Something is not sitting right with this, because her mother died and people are trying to wipe memories, and like there's a demon that's like, she's so human until that thing happened, right? And then she gets thrown into this whole world of like an elite society and all this kind of stuff, and it's giving dark academia. And like I'm telling you, the first book will leave you on the biggest cliffhanger. Yeah, so comment down below, have you read Legendborn? I'm super genuinely curious. Y'all, I'm starting to talk fast. This Red Bull is kicking. Okay. Pause. Have you liked, comment, and subscribed yet? It's quick, free, and easy. It'll help support the channel. Yeah, so like go hit the subscribe button and like and comment. Okay, back to the video. Moving on to the month of April. Emily Harry strikes again with Great Big Beautiful Life. Y'all, this book comes out on April 22nd. Emily Harry is a boss lady. Every book that I have read by her, I have loved it. I'm not even kidding you. It's basically about two writers who are competing, a contemporary romance novel. So Alice Scott is still waiting for her big break in the writing world. She's very optimistically dreaming. And Hayden is a Pulitzer Prize winner. She's trying to get her big break, and this guy has already won something big, right? They're both on this island for the same reason. They're trying to write a biography of a woman who no one has seen in years. The one who claims to be Margaret Ives, former tabloid princess and daughter of one of the most storied and scandalous families of the 20th century. Y'all, this is giving Taylor Jenkins Reid, The Seven Husbands husbands of Evelyn Hugo. How Evelyn Hugo was this like big famous movie star, and then this journalist was going to like interview and like get her life story. Let me stay on track, y'all. That was the vibe that I'm getting. Like, these two writers are gonna go write about this person who's like a big deal. The only thing is, Margaret invites two of them to go out for a 1-month trial period, and she'll choose the person who will tell her story. Hayden, who's a Pulitzer Prize winner, should not even like be concerned about losing this book. Like, if he doesn't get it, he shouldn't be mad because he's already a Pulitzer Prize winner. But if she doesn't get it, she's like, dang, back to the drawing board of like just having my dreams. So she's kind of like annoyed by that. She's annoyed that like he sees her as competition. But maybe she's like good, but she just hasn't been discovered yet, you know? And it says the problem is though, Margaret, this famous lady, is only giving each of them pieces of her story. Pieces that they can't even put together because they signed an NDA. It says it's becoming abundantly clear that their story, just like the tale that Margaret is spinning, could be a mystery, a tragedy, or a love ballad, depending on who's telling it. Yo, that's how that synopsis ends. So I'm like, is it gonna be a mystery? Is it gonna be a tragedy, a love ballad? Who's gonna tell the story? Yeah, it seems like it's gonna be a really freaking good book, and I just cannot wait. I love Emily Henry. Y'all, I already know this is gonna be the book that I love. It's probably gonna be like one of my favorite books of the year. I'm just predicting that right now that Abby Jimenez is about to slay with this. It's called Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. So basically, it's about these two people, Xavier, who is like this perfect guy. Apparently he's like a gorgeous veterinarian who looks like a Greek god, okay? But apparently it says Xavier opens his mouth and says something absolutely wrong. I'm like, what did he say? You know what I'm saying? And Samantha loves proving people wrong. Anyway, somehow they have an endless date that was like probably the best living date in history of the world, apparently. Possibly the best in living history. Samantha is forced to admit that her family is in a crisis, and any relationship she just cannot handle. Being in a relationship would be impossible right now. So Samantha begs Xavier to forget her. Just like forget me, you know, just like keep this night as a perfect night and leave it there. Only no amount of distance or time is enough to forget that something between them. And the only thing better than one single perfect memory is to make a life, and even a love, worth remembering. I love how it said no amount of distance or time is enough to forget that spark between them. I am so excited to read that book. Like, it's gonna be freaking good. Abby Jimenez is a boss lady when it comes to writing, especially like long distance love and like forbidden love, and just I'm getting all excited thinking about it. It's gonna be good, I already know. That book is definitely on the list, okay? For real, for real. Let's move on to May. There's a book coming out by Annabelle Monaghan, and it's called It's a Love Story. And I like Annabelle Monaghan's writing. I recently read a book by her like this past summer for the first time. I didn't even read her most popular book. The book that I read by her is called Summer Romance. So freaking good. But anyway, this is another romance novel. Rules for love. There are none. It's all a lie. So this girl named Jane used to be on this sitcom when she was like an adolescent, when she was younger, right? Now that she's grown up, she is now a creative executive at Clearwater Studios. And she is living by this new mantra called fake it till you make it, right? Except she ends up lying about something. She is desperate to get her first project greenlit, so she lied to this person named Dan, who was like her one-time crush. He's like the cinematographer or whatever. She lied to him, and she said that Jack, who is the hottest pop star at the moment, promised to write an original song for her soundtrack. And Jack was her first kiss and greatest source of shame, apparently. Like, why, you know? And so she lied and said he's gonna be writing an original song. The problem is she has not spoken to this dude in 20 years. Imagine. She was like, oh yeah, Jack's gonna write this song for me. I know him. Haven't talked to him in 20 years. Girl. So anyway, now Jane must go to Dan, her crush, because Jack is playing at a festival in Dan's hometown, and Dan has her way in. So a week in close quarters with Dan, who is her crush, while facing down her past, her first kiss, is Jane's idea of hell. But Dan might surprise her. While covering up her lie, can they find something true? Ooh. At first that synopsis sounded complicated. I was like, wait, because there was like too many people and I don't know what's going on. But I get it. It's like Jane lied to Dan, who was like the cinematographer, trying to get her project greenlit. She lied to Dan, who she's crushing on, and said that Jack, who was her first love, agreed to write an original song for her soundtrack. But she hasn't talked to Jack in 20 years, but she's trying to impress Dan. But then Dan has to wait for her to get to Jack because Jack is in Dan's hometown. So now she gets to spend a week with Dan trying to get to Jack, and then she learns some things about Dan. That's why I was like, wait, let me read this slowly. But it all makes sense, right? Does that make sense to you? It makes sense to me. May 27th, I'm ready for you. May 27th, I'm ready. Let's move on to June. So in June, on June 3rd, Taylor Jenkins Reid is coming out with a book. She is coming out with this book called Atmosphere. This is a historical fiction novel. And romance is at play, apparently. So this is about this girl named Joan who is reserved, but she's obsessed with stars. Joan is a professor of physics at Rice University. Joan comes across an advertisement seeking the first women scientists to join NASA's space shuttle program. And Joan is burning to be one of the few people to go to space. Right? Like, if I was in that field, I'd be burning to go too. Especially if you're looking for like first women to do it, you know what I'm saying? Well, would I be the first? I don't know. Anyway, selected from a pool of thousands of applicants in the summer of 1980, so historical fiction, Joan begins training at this space center in Houston alongside an exceptional group of other fellow candidates. As the new astronauts become unlikely friends and prepare for their first flight, Joan finds a passion and a love she never imagined. In this new light, Joan begins to question everything she thinks she knows about her place in the universe. Then, in December of 1984, so wait, 4 years later? Oh yeah, okay, so 4 years later, everything changes in an instant. That's all it says. What happened? What happened? So yeah, we gotta read that. I definitely wanna know what happened. What happened? Like, I'm just like curious, like, that's how it ends? Like, that's okay. Taylor Jenkins Reid is a boss at writing too. Like, almost every book she's ever written, I've never disliked any of her books ever. I never thought they were boring. Girl, my hair looking a mess. Haha. I'm like, how long have I been looking like that? It is what it is. Taylor Jenkins Reid never misses, is what I was trying to say before I got distracted by like Let's move on. This book is coming out by Jennifer Lynn Barnes called Glorious Rivals. It's the second book of the Grandest Games series. Now, in order for you to even read any of these books, you have to read the Inheritance Games series because it talks about those same individuals from that series. And that series has like 3 or 4 books in it. So like this is like a continuation about a whole different thing with the same people. So that's kind of interesting, right? I feel like I can't even talk about the Grandest Games without talking about the Inheritance Games. The Inheritance Games is about this girl named Avery, I believe, who was in high school and she's just trying to graduate high school, whatever. But then this billionaire whose last name is Hawthorne, I think it's like Tobias or something like that. Anyway, this billionaire gives Avery his fortune. So billions in his entire fortune to this high school person. And she doesn't even know who this guy is, right? Almost overnight, she becomes a billionaire because somebody gave her an inheritance. The Inheritance Games, right? And so anyway, the only catch is like she needs to go and live in the Hawthorne Manor. But the Hawthorne Manor has like 4 brothers who thought that they were gonna get the inheritance. His grandchildren, they thought that they were gonna get the inheritance, but then the other person gets it. So anyway, the brothers trying to figure out who is Avery. Is she a con woman? Is this part of Grandpa's big last hurrah? Is this part of a game? Like, who are you? And like, because now she's living in this house with them, and every room in the house apparently is like decked out with like riddles and codes and games. That's kind of like all I remember off the top of my head about that book. But it's a huge series, and like, yeah. So I don't know anything about Avery except the fact that she's a high school person who inherited billions. So anyway, the Grandest Game is like piggybacking off of that series. So I want to read it. Yeah. On August 5th or August 7th, who knows? Accomplice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer is coming out, which is the 3rd book of Assistant to the Villain. Girl, first of all, when I first ran upon Assistant to the Villain, I didn't think it was going to be a series. But that book, Assistant to the Villain, is the book, one of the books that I'm reading in this month of December. So if you haven't watched my December TBR video, go watch that. But in case you haven't watched it, Assistant to the Villain is basically about this girl who's like kind of poor. She needs a job. And so there's this ad that is posted by the villain who's like a notorious villain. Like everybody knows he's a villain, right? He posts an ad asking for an assistant. And so because she's desperate for a job, she goes and like gets this job. And she has to get used to seeing like heads hanging from the ceiling, stepping on eyeballs and stuff. And within this job, she detects that there is a rat within their little empire trying to take down the villain. And so as the assistant, her job is to figure out who is this rat and get her boss, the villain, to make this rat pay. That's all I know. But I do think that it's going to be a great read because there's a 3rd book coming out. And first of all, I love the cover. Like the cover is just giving like I need to read it. Accomplice to the Villain. That sounds dangerous. It sounds like she's going to commit a crime. Anyway, that is on the list of books that I want to read. And then like, I'm not going to lie, as I was doing some research like to see what's coming out next year, after August, the books become more like, I don't know. Nothing caught my eye after August. It was like, what are these, like this is no shade against anybody, any authors that have books coming out after August. But when I was doing my research, I was like, yeah, I don't know any of these authors and I don't want to read any of these books that I see on this list. So my list literally ends at August. But if you know of any books that are coming out that I haven't mentioned, please drop it in the comments down below because I want to check it out, especially if it's from an author that you know that I have read. One, and two, if you know of any books that's coming out after August that I just don't know about that I probably will like, then comment that down below as well, because I'm always down to like learn about new authors and read new authors. I'm always reading new authors like Alison Espach, who wrote The Wedding People. Yeah, I'm always down for a good time. So let me know. This is where my list ends. I think I've talked about 10 books. These are the 10 new releases of 2025 that I am anticipating reading. Add these to your list, and if there are more books that I need to add to my list, drop it down below. Thank y'all for watching. Until tomorrow, bye.